I've got my writing and messages here from the beings in 2017, so I'm just going through them now. And it's amazing because I'm not remembering what they said from the beginning. In October 2017, these entities came and visited this home. They had a massive head, no eyes, nose, mouth or ears, and a small body, and it was three of them right there in front of the door. And they looked like aliens. They absolutely looked like aliens. And for me, the fear that I had that came into my body, I can't even express. The only thing I can try to explain is that I was terrified, but in a way that I thought I was not seeing these entities or these aliens. So, you know, when you scratch your eyes and you think, am I seeing correctly? Is this really in my home? Are they really here? And straight away, conscious words that came into my mind said to me, draw us. And when you draw us, your fear would go. So I done that because I was terrified. I drew them, and straight away the fear started to vanish out of my spirit. That's the only way I can explain how I felt. It was a slow sensation of motions that was coming out of my body. And when it left me, I just felt pure love and bliss with regards to my sensation in my body. And I was able to start speaking to them. And I could speak to them in my mind, and they would speak to me in my mind, even though I'm seeing them clearly right in front of me. And I said to them, who are you? Who are you? That was the first thing that could come out my mouth, because I've never experienced something like this before. And they said, we are here to give a message to humans with regards to this earthly realm. The whole of the weekend, I spoke to them and we spoke about things. I spoke about things to do with life, to do with humans, to do with animals, to do with things that I think anyone will probably ask. So it wasn't like fixed questions, it was just flowing questions that would come and go. And then on, I think it was Monday or Sunday, so this was the Saturday. So by Monday and Sunday, the drawing that I done, I chose to put it up on Facebook. And I wanted to just see what happens. A lot of people back then on my Facebook page knew that I was quite spiritual and I believed in certain things, and you know, I would speak to spirits and stuff like that, and I would have dreams that will come true. I was that sort of person anyway. So I put up this picture, I think it was Monday, I'm sure it was the Monday from that weekend, and one person got back, and that was my friend Annette. And I looked at my phone, I just scrolled up, and there was a picture that, well, I called my friend Zoe, and later on her energy changed and she uses the name as the Sage. So Zoe put up this picture of a being with a caption at the top saying, "Humans, are you ready?" And I remember looking at it thinking, oh, this looks like an alien. I've never spoken to her about aliens. I've never even spoken to her about anything like that. So I thought that was quite weird, and I remember thinking, I really want to ask her questions about this. So I texted her through the day and asked if I could go around that evening. And she said, yeah, I could. So I got round there about 6 o'clock. And we're sitting in her front room, and I can remember that we were sitting in sort of like an L-shaped sofa, and there was a pool table just to the sort of, as you come into the front room. And she was explaining how the beings had turned up on the weekend, and that
that they'd said to her to draw a picture because she was quite scared when they first turned up. But while she was telling me this, she froze. And literally her whole body just froze. And just using her eyes, she said to me, "They're here." And I remember looking around thinking, well, I can't see anything, but I could tell from her body language that she was frightened. And she just literally moved her eyes to the doorway and she didn't even move her head. She just said, "They're here, they're in the doorway, they're standing in the doorway." And then I didn't really know what to think at that point. I couldn't see anything, but I could tell by her body language that she was seeing something because it had changed. And I remember her saying, they want to speak to you, they're coming in, they want to speak to you.
And they started speaking to her. And once they started speaking to her, they started to give her things that I wouldn't have known. She used to be my hairdresser, so I didn't know her that well. And they started to connect with her in a way that blew her away. And from that day on, she started to also have a connection with the aliens and having her own experiences with them.
And the first thing they said is, "Haven't you had enough yet?" And before, as I said before, I could really ask what they meant. They went straight into something else and they said, "What does you humans think happens when you pick a flower?" And I remember we looked at each other and just said, "It dies." I was thinking, "It goes to compost." And so I said, they're saying, "No, nothing dies, energy can't die, it can only change form." And then straight after that, they started saying that nothing dies, that everything is around and everything is within consciousness. And the first hour that we were there, I was there, they covered quite a lot of subjects. So they said that there is no death, and they said you can't see it, but it's just next door. It's almost like it's just in a room next door, these energies. And they asked us, then they went on to explain how they said an energy comes down to experience this earth, and they have they described it like a contract. And they said, so, they literally said, "Zoe likes doing this and that, and you like doing this and that." And these are things that neither of us knew about each other. The first contact was for about an hour. At the end of that hour, I don't even know, I can't even put it into words. I felt like I'd had my whole reality just twisted round on its head. Everything that I thought I knew, it was just strange. I remember driving home in a state of shock.
Let me explain the name. So we used to call them aliens because they looked like aliens, as you will see. However, when we asked them, "What do you want to be called? Who are you? What do you want to be called?" They said they are no name. They're not no communication labels to how humans connect in this earthly realm. They're not the nothingness, they're the energy of all things. So they're not no name, they're not no aliens, they're not no this or that or have a special name because they come from another dimension or anything like that. They're just energy of pure things. And we came up with beings because they spoke about beings a lot, the energy of just beings. No other thing, not humans, not animals, not insects, just beings. And we stuck with that, and that's what we chose to call them, and that's what we call them now. They're here to share messages and information for humans to remember why they're here in this illusion and in this earthly realm.
There were so many things that got explained at the beginning. Another thing that I wanted to say that happened during the first 3 weeks is that I had something on my arm. So I woke up one morning and there was a little round circle on my shoulder blade, and I'd had a cup of tea, and I remember reaching forward for the cup of tea, and I remember my nightshirt sticking on my back, and I thought, it felt really, really uncomfortable and painful. And I went upstairs and I was trying to look at it in the bathroom and I couldn't see what it was, and I was asking a few friends, what is this on my back? And it kept pulsating. And I got my sister to take a photograph of it, and it was a perfectly round circle, and it was bright red. It was very like an open wound. And what I realised is that when I had a conversation with the beings, it would pulsate. And it would really go like, it was like, dun, 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 dun. And it was in my back, and it only seemed to occur when I was talking about or talking to the beings. So after the first 3 months, we separated, Zoe and I. We needed some time out. She had been 3 months in literally giving me all the answers to my questions.
Came with that was tiredness, because it was very draining, because it was taking my energy when I had to be channeled in that way. And I started to just go within, and that's where the real teachings started. The main thing that really got me with these teachings was that it was allowing me to not just grow, but I was finding myself each time I was going through these teachings. So the last part of the teachings was connected to this purpose right here. And that was being fearful of showing yourself to others and having people say, oh, that's wonderful, that's good, well done. Oh, I love that, that's just fantastic. You're fantastic, having that energy, and then having the opposite of, what are you doing? That doesn't sound right, that's wrong, that's rubbish. I don't believe what you're saying. I don't believe that there's beings that's here and you see them. That's nonsense. And I had to learn to understand the balance of energy. Us as humans, we're not here to experience everything, and we're not here on the same frequencies. So you're going to get people that love what you're doing, embrace it, and you're going to get people that don't embrace it. And something like this purpose here, I had to get to the stage of embracing that. And this is what the being says so often with regards to shifting energy. You don't like something that you're experiencing, you shift the energy. How do we do that? We do it with love. We change our thought process with regards to how we should shift the energy. I'm not here for people to follow and to follow me and say, I'm right, come on, this is the way to go. I'm not here for that, not for my contract. I'm here as a storyteller to share the gifts that I have for others to be able to find their own within them. And by doing that, again, they put me on the journey, like they do. So the things that they would teach me is not dialogues of information, but things that they would do to my mind or my brain or my body. And then I do the Ramos meditation, which comes from the beings. It's their mantra. It's part of the light codes. And then I just relax and see if I get any downloads from the beings. And then I write it down with my pen and paper. Things for me to, they would say, be activated for me to be able to share not just the symbols, but everything else that's going to be happening in the future. I think I'd done this for about 30 days or after 30 days of every single night, in the middle of the night, getting up, going to this place, getting information. The more that I went, the more it became natural, the more it became more insightful, the more it became a place where I felt home, and I felt at home. The beings would always say to me that when us as humans think of dimensions, we think of dimensions or other planets as up in the sky or far away from here, and they always say everything's the now. So everything's now. Everything's just, if you want to call it, next door. So spirits, other energies, humans that are transitioned on, they're just next door. They haven't gone anywhere, yeah? They've just changed energy form. And it's the same with what they were doing with me. They were activating me in a way where when I share these messages to others, they're able to connect to the energy side of me and not just the physical side to me. I don't know if you understand that, but this is how they explained it to me. And we went through a beautiful journey. It was absolutely beautiful to go to a place of, again, the words pure bliss comes into mind, because you can't really put words to these experiences that I went through. It was experiences that words can't touch it, but you try and explain it into words, because when you're speaking to another human, that's how we operate. We operate through communication, through words or through actions. So it's really hard to explain the feeling of how I felt when I would go to their home. After I went to their home and I got the downloads that I needed with regards to the light codes, they said it's now time to share the light codes. Started to share the light codes in 2021.
These are the light codes, and as you can see, it goes in alphabetical order, so you can write with them as well. So you have the symbols, these are the symbols, and then you have the sounds: aka, baka, kasu, ai, ka, zi, ha. And these are all the sounds to create the light codes. You can also make mantras out of this, create them yourself throughout the sounds, and the beings have actually created the Kahla Romo mantra sound as well. But it's really about making it yours. Go within and see what symbols draw itself to you.
And sharing the light codes to others. The beings always said, and does always say, let it just flow. People will come, people will show themselves to you, and then you would share the light codes. It's like it was connecting with your other spiritual family. So you're meeting up with people and you're drawing energy and you're coming from the same frequency. And when you do, for whatever reason, you meet up and you feel, oh, this feels like I know you, or you get chatting, you get understanding certain things that you're in the same, have the same understanding with regards to certain things. It could be spirituality, it could be anything, and then it just grows from there. And then usually the beings will say to me, okay, it's time to share the light codes. And then I would say, oh, I connect with these beings. I remember I'd done like a messenger, and I messaged you to see if you was interested in these light codes and to be activated by these beings. So how was it for you?
Now, you would think that it would be like really far out in left field, right? Mm. For somebody to just come to you out of the blue. It was really within the natural flow of where I was already going. Yeah. And so I had, by this time, I had already developed a good rapport with my guides. So I knew that something was coming, although I never really know the form in which it's coming, right? So when you reached out, it wasn't necessarily a surprise, or it wasn't something out in left field. I didn't know how it was coming, but it wasn't so far out there, right? So when I read your message and I listened to your message, I just felt the comfort with it. I knew it was something I was supposed to agree to. I knew it was something I was supposed to do.
And they just connect. I don't need to do no work. There's no work to push this through, because it's not about pushing it through, and it's not about how we're used to doing things as humans. So we're used to creating something and we want it out there, we want it to be big, we want to make money from it, you know, we want to be noticed, we need hundreds and thousands of people to follow, to know that it's getting somewhere. The beings don't connect and don't work in those ways.
So when I initially met Sage for an activation, and when I found out about the light codes, it was something which, again, it was half familiar to me, but also it had an unknown side to it, because I am a Reiki practitioner and I have received activations or initiations through Reiki so that I can channel energy through. However, the concept of the beings in terms of being activated was very different in the energy that I felt, and it was very, very uplifting, but as well as uplifting, it was, I can't describe it. It was very transformational, and I felt that I'd turned a corner in my life and it had opened up different, maybe neural connections or energy connections, whatever you might use a word for it, light bodies, I don't know. But the activations themselves were like a language, and because I love languages, I speak 5 languages with different scripts. So when I saw the light code symbols, I was like, wow, this is like hieroglyphics. And then I just started to resonate with ancient Egyptian mythology and the previous races of humans who have been here who had supernatural abilities. And I thought, the time is here again where it's matching in with my spiritual teachings. I was like, oh, I can't get answers, I've got to go within. And this is what Sage told me. He said, this is about you. This is about how you connect with the symbols, so myself. And that gave me a whole new way of thinking, wow, this is mine. I can just use them how I want. So, and even in my energy healing that I do with my hands, I've started being more free with the Reiki. I've used my own expression. So I think the beings have actually upgraded my way that I do my own healing. And in terms of receiving the energy healing, it was a completely different process. Although, you know, I laid down and I was receiving the healing from the beings through Sage, I'd never had visions like I've had, and I've never opened up to higher fields of consciousness and feeling that emotional feeling or beyond emotion even.
But when I came to the energy work that I had, sorry. Excuse me. It was so beautiful. So when we started the energy work, instantly I started to become, start crying and releasing, I guess, the trapped anger and emotion that was within me, and that was uncontrollable, but it wasn't painful. It was a beautiful release, which lasted for about 15 minutes, and then at the end of that, all I could remember, what was coming into me was forgiveness, and that wasn't from me. That was almost like it was being channeled into me, and it was really beautiful. You know, it was really, really beautiful. Just forgiveness, forgiveness, forgiveness. And during those 15 minutes, I was seeing myself as a child, and it was a release I was like releasing, I guess it was pain, anger, all sorts of things. After this forgiveness, after that seemed to subside, and then gradually I stopped, the sobbing stopped, and then I just felt peace. And I was in this other place, and I was asleep. I was snoring. At the same time, I was awake, and I knew beings were doing their healing or their energy. I could feel their energy within me, and at the same time, I was at peace, and I was just in this perfect calm. It was like just a white dimension of nothingness, and I was so calm, and I can't describe, other than the fact that there was nothing there, but it was just a beautiful, calm place, and there I was for about half an hour. Or the beings, I didn't see the beings, but I felt the beings. I just wanted to stay there. As I knew the session was coming to an end, I didn't want the session to end. I wanted to stay there. Because it was so beautiful. And I'd never felt so much comfort in all my life. As it came, once it ended, and I came awake, I suppose, you might as well say, and we both, we ended that session. I couldn't believe what had just happened to me, because I was a skeptic. I believed anything like that could happen.
So me sharing these messages in different forms. So you're going to start to see how the journey's going with this. Because at first it was dialogues, and then it went from dialogues to drawing with my eyes closed. Then it went from drawing to my eyes closed to light codes. And then from light codes, it was like, now you can share. So I knew I was ready for this message to be out there now. So I started, someone contacted me to do an interview out of the blue. So I knew it was time as well. And she contacted me with regards to Annette.
Just close your eyes and empty your mind. The thought that comes through, that's them speaking. And they remember them saying that they're in every atom. So I remember drawing this, which was, this is the atom. This is just someone literally finding a dark place, closing your eyes, and then you connect. Well, you don't even have to think you're connecting, because you connect anyway, naturally. I think I drew over about 40 pictures of conversations, and they're all theming around the same thing, that there is no separation. I remember this one was quite, if you look on this one, they're all little flowers, and they've all got little babies in them. And then this is like a watering can, because the beings, you said that they've been interacting with humans for billions of years, and that they come in and out, and that every time we sort of stray off the path, they come back in and they put us back on path, and that's the way it's gone. So, and there is only oneness, and that we are connected to the animals and the stones and the flowers. So I drew all these. It was like a constant, I can't even put it into words. It was a drive to draw and write and document, basically, document a diary of every conversation that I had with them, because I just thought it was so magical and just out of this world is the only way to describe it. Yeah, so, and this one here was a picture where it was sort of like if you can't zoom in, but it's a little sort of, this is the person's up here, it's up above is down below, but basically you have, this is like your soul's right, it's got its script already, and then it relays it into your mind, into consciousness, because the being said every thought creates action. So I remember drawing all these to do with that. I mean, I had over 40 drawings. It's just been a constant state of growth is the only way to describe it.
So she done an interview with Annette, I think a year before, and she said, would you like to do an interview on the beings, because I'm really interested in them? And I said, yeah, of course. And I done my first interview with her. Welcome, Karen Swain.
Thanks, Starring One, Sage.
Thank you for having this chat. Yeah, thank you for this chat and for us to be able to break down what beings are, what other entities are, why they come into this earthly realm, why certain people see them and certain people don't. So with this documentary that I'm doing, which has been guided by the beings, is really for the beings to share their messages and for other humans to have a different view of how we see in different entities and different energy fields and what that really means to us as humans. So that's an overall of why they wanted to do this documentary. So we are here discussing not just the energy of the beings that I see, but other entities as well and other different forms of aliens, whatever words we want to call it. So for you, I know you have correct me if I'm wrong, but when I was reading up more about you, we've become friends now, but more about you, you have so much experience, over 20 odd years of experience of interviewing so many different people with regards to what we're speaking about here in different forms and in different aspects of it. So for you, where did it start for you with your sightings? Because you call your spiritual guides or your entities the mob. So how did that start for you before we go down another road?
Yeah, I'm very reverent about it and call my guidance or my guides the mob because I didn't see them as separate identity. They were like, when I could visualize them in my head, it was just like this big mob of beings.
Yeah.
just a big mob. They were faceless, identityless, just like you would see a big crowd, sort of blurry and sort of in the distance. There wasn't any identity. And I'm just looking at the clock, it says 9:09. Anyway, I love that synchronicity. How it works with us, I've had over 25 years showcasing, interviewing and having conversations with New World teachers, experiences, people that have had spiritually transformative experiences, NDEs, extraterrestrial experiences, all manner of spiritual experiences. And how it really works is we're moving into a time now on planet Earth where we're starting to understand that we're not a singular separate entity, that we're all connected and that we are actually connected to a soul family. We're a family in spirit. And when we elect to come into this physical human identity, we come into this earth plane, we never do it alone. We come in connected, intimately, intrinsically connected to our spiritual family. And as points of consciousness that exist beyond this time and space, we play in so many dimensions and worlds.
Why do you think that most of us, I say not all, but most of us, and I don't know if you experience this, we grow up just thinking like no one understands us, we're different, we're called weird sometimes, and every story that I hear from other people, it's the same thing. Yes, that was me. I felt weird, or people called me weird, or I felt alone, or I just didn't understand this earthly realm. Why do you think that happens?
Well, there's a number of reasons, but all of us feel like we don't belong here. Because we don't. None of us, not one of us. We come from spirit. We come from source. We come from realms of unimaginable beauty and infinite creative potential. We come from this realm of expanded realities, infinite possibility, and then we elect to have physical life experiences either here on earth through all time and space or on other places.
Straight away she said, you need to get this out here. You need to get this out here. And I was laughing because I was like, oh, I'm okay where I am, you know, I'm okay just in my home, connecting with the beings and going here with them and going there and downloading information. And she was like, no. And I knew that was confirmation because the being said, it's time. So by her saying that, I knew, okay, this is the opening for more things to find itself. And I ended up doing, I think, 2 more interviews with her. I definitely agree with that. And you know that I've experienced that from when I was so young, you know, going off in my dreams and going to places which I didn't know and, you know, going into a portal and being lifted, you know. And by doing that, confidence was starting to come and the energy was just starting to flow. And then it was like a book. And the chapters of the book were starting to just unfold and unfold without me having to do any form of pushing, pulling, to be able to share a message like this and be guided by an energy that no one sees, but people may feel. You have to be able to work with different aspects of your brain. Because if you let your logic and your ego kick in, then you probably won't end up doing it because you'd be like, no, that don't sound too great. People might not believe. And then the doubt energy starts to creep in and the fear energy. So now you start to understand why they had to work with my fear energies to be able to be pure for me to share this message. So that went on, and then it got to a stage of, okay, it's time to do evenings with the beings where you get people to come and you do downloads and we talk through you to really share this message to beings. Now to do that, I started to go into a vortex. So what I do now, instead of just channeling, where they just channel me naturally, and I might still have my ego in between that channel, I go into a vortex now. And by going into a vortex, I'm literally in the nothingness at this time. So I call it the death experience because I'm not in the nothingness. I don't remember I'm here. I don't remember I have children. I have a husband. I've got family. I'm surrounded. I'm a female. I don't remember nothing whatsoever. And by me going into this vortex, the beings are able to access my energy field for them to be able to really send out the messages. So that started a couple of months ago.
Lo ahí, allá, ahí, ayo, lo ahí, allá. Lo ahí, allá, buka allá. Lo ahí.
Welcome. Feel the energy of water that flows through the body of a human. We tend to feel when a human sheds tears, they cry because of sadness or fear or misunderstanding. These tears is of joy and love that we want to share with you at this time. The tears of sage is the water, it's the love that allows you to experience earth. It's tears of joy and love that we want to give you right now. Before we start, we want to give you our energy, our love, our peace, which is the energy of all things. Humans talk and talk, but not doing the action. And when the action appears, fear creeps in, and then it stops the flow. So before we go, please work on your fears that you have, because it's the fears that will shift you to the next level. And we will say, start with death. Everything else will flow afterwards.
So when I had the light codes done, that was about the language, the sound, and the energy of the expression of the acknowledgement. So with me, I'm very sensitive. I can feel and hear a lot of things. So when that came to me, I just learnt and saw everything that I need to in one moment. In that one moment, I got to learn a lot about myself. They even gave me gifts to help me, and I gave gifts back. They gave me gifts in the form of love. They gave me my heart back, and they helped me to learn and see the difference of giving and receiving, and giving with no return, which is like death. When connecting to the beings that you can't see or feel them, it makes people feel wary or scared, and can make you feel scared yourself. But there is more to the world than what is seen, and everyone has to accept it one day. And the quicker you accept it, the quicker your life becomes better and nice. With my mum having this relationship with the beings and growing into a different person, I've seen my mum grow and change into different stages of reality. She's not the same person that she was when she was a child, or when she was with me, or when she's had children, or when she's been working or living or having relationships in life. So I've got to see mum grow into a different person. A lot of people never get to see change. And that's what I feel like this whole documentary is about, the change of energy and mindset and growth, that you have to accept someone for who they are now. You can't accept them for who they was back in the day or in the past. And that's what I feel like. When I've accepted that in my heart, I've got to enjoy and appreciate my relationship with my mum, and actually love each other, be happy. And it's even if it's not like how everyone else says it is, or like in the sense of the ideal love, it's our love that we can grow and is happy and in abundance.
Cheers. 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 Give thanks for this food.
Thank you.
And we give thanks for the rainwater that we're drinking alongside it.
Yeah.
So anyone, what made us get into rainwater?
To be honest, it's probably not one single thing, but when you look back on it, and it's a series of progressions throughout my life. I think it might have started when, you're just you get introduced to a few books, and you kind of start exploring things in your imagination, and then you might have what's like synchronicities that just keep happening. I reckon if I have to put it down to anything, it would be the amount of synchronicities that would happen, that you just know this is outside of the realm of possibility of it just happening this frequently. Like, I'm talking about more repeated numbers, and to the point where it's spilling out so much that I can show other people, like, remember I was telling you I'm seeing these numbers, look, like it's to the point where it was spilling out in other people's reality that I could show them. So I would say when I started noticing synchronicities, looking into all of these phenomenon, that's when the door blew way open. Because what I've heard is when you kind of give intention or give an idea to it being valid, that's when they or the spirits or the other realm will then move more in your direction. They just want you to be the first one to say, okay, if this is real, show me. Like, that's basically what I did.
I know for me, connecting with the beings, it was something, because we're here to speak about elements, that they really wanted to stress to humans was the importance of rainwater and how we need to activate our bodies again with the rainwater, because it's been so long with us, you know, purifying different forms of water in different ways. And the difference of allowing the energy of the rainwater that comes from the sky to activate our bodies inside and outside. How long have you been drinking rainwater now?
I think this might be year 3, actually. It might be the third year. I think I started in 2019. That's when maybe next month will make it 3 years since I got the whole thing hooked up. If anything was going to happen to me, it would have definitely happened by now.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I use rainwater for my eyes, so I at times get dry eyes, and I get drops, and I put the rainwater in a bottle of drops, and I use it. You don't need to put the rainwater in your eyes if you don't want to, like myself. You can just get a towel or something and damp the rainwater over your eyes as well.
The invisible beings. I believe in angels, and my own personal experience with invisible beings or angels is that since coming into contact with the beings, I started drawing angels, different kinds of angels, all sorts of angels with different characteristics. Some angels have very pleasant features that we would consider to be attractive, and some features that, you know, we might not consider to be attractive. So one of the invisible beings or angels that I've drawn was like an angel that looks like a Dracula, but it's an invisible being. And I believe that these invisible beings or angels or guides, they're here to help us. So I grew up, my background was from a Christian background, and we believe in angels. They're here to protect us, guide us, and help us. So I do believe in invisible beings. And it's okay if somebody doesn't believe in invisible beings. It's okay if they don't believe in angels. It's okay if they don't believe in guardian angels, because they're on their own journey. But for me personally, I know that in my own journey, I'm able to call on my guardian angels. I'm able to call on the beings, and they're able to help and guide me in my daily life.
Yeah, I mean, probably when I met now, like about 2 years ago, like I've tried rainwater, but it's one of the, I haven't obviously done it like regularly, but it's one of those things where just from, because I obviously having tap water, bottled, I mainly have a lot of bottled water, but I can't, after having bottled water, I can't have tap water anymore, because you can tell there's such a big difference.
Yeah.
But with the rainwater, like I can tell immediately, it's so like the best word I could use is soft. Like, it just goes down so smoothly. Like one thing I've read which really kind of took me back is, for them, science and religion is one. And science and religion being one, it's so baffling to us, because for us, this whole reality is based on belief. Everything is belief. Like you don't even know if you're gonna be alive tomorrow. Something could happen. You might just die in your sleep. So much is based on belief. God. The reason why there's still so many religions is because no one can prove God. But the ETs, they seem to have a much more different experience with reality, in the sense that it seems like God and the universe and their understanding of the unseen and the seen, it's all mixed together. And for them, it's like a science.
From growing up, my mum's always kind of been spiritual. It's kind of how I've really seen her, if you want to say that. It's only recently my mum's kind of got into like talking about the beings, yeah, stuff like that. But with regarding me, myself, and getting into it, I don't really, I wouldn't say I'm into it like my mum, but I dibble and dabble, if you want to say that. So there's been times where I've attended her meditation classes, and her evening with the beings. And from the experiences that I've had, they've been positive. They've been very positive. So I think it's kind of made me more open to things. I haven't changed as a person completely, but more open to things made me want to be more proactive in certain aspects. I don't know, it's hard to explain. Well, I saw like, it was like a light. It wasn't really a light, but I heard a voice, should I say. It was a voice that said, keep on going and don't give up. Something along those lines anyway, something positive. And then there were like some doors, and I opened one of the doors, and it was something to do with like my books anyway, because obviously I write children's books, so something to do with my books. And then there was a few doors, but I opened only one at that point in time. And after I saw that, it just helped me kind of motivate me to continue. When I done the light codes with the beings, the first time when my mum introduced me to them, I would say my experience was, I was confused at first because I didn't really, it was something new. It was something new, so I didn't really know what to expect. My experience of it was kind of like just meditating. So it's just, you're in a meditation state and kind of feel/see things.
And a lot of humans are so in this program and the robot side of things, of just going with what people are saying we have to do, or whatever is being said with regards to other humans. We're being governed by that, and we're used to that. But because of that, we're not going within and being able to activate our superpower within. So with these evenings with the beings are really starting to push information now, and push information for energy to change form. For us as humans, when things starts to really change, that's the word that I will use, it's happening already. We can see the viruses that are starting to come. We can see what's happening in different countries with regards to flooding, with regards to the fires, where it's just happening because of heat. And, houses are getting burnt down and people's stuff are being, disappearing and just being destroyed. What's going to happen is that we're left with, okay, the government don't know what's going on. Certain hierarchies, other humans who we love as well, we're all one. I want to say that. As not knowing what's going on, what happens is that there's going to be no other place to go than within. There's going to be no other place to go. And the beings are saying, let's start now. We are here to let humans know, if we choose, so remember it's free will, if we choose to start going within and start understanding what our superpowers are within, for us to be able to experience when the change comes in the future, it's not going to be so fearful and so horrific, where some energies of humans, some people's going to be over here in their illusion of fearfulness, being frightened, being worried, don't know how to move, don't know how to shift. Then to these humans who was able to access going within, where their creativity can show and where they can find themselves within, how they can open up and grow within their illusion without worry, without stress, and to be able to experience it with love, happiness, fun. We're meant to be having fun here. When we're not meant to be in this worry energy mode. We're meant to be having fun, but it's free will, and it's about choices that we make that's going to determine our future.
Yeah.